Good evening, I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. In a stunning blow to gun control advocates, the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down New York State's handgun law. The law places restrictions on carrying a concealed gun outside the home. The decision could have a major impact in Maryland, D.C., and 6 other states, which have similar laws that require people to show proper cause to get a license to carry a concealed weapon. The decision is also the widest expansion of gun rights in a decade. It comes as the country continues to grapple with mass shootings, including the recent massacre of 19 school children in Texas. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court adds an extra decision day this week to issue opinions. The court will release rulings today and tomorrow. The High Court still has about a dozen cases to weigh in on. One case recently decided by the court strikes down a Maine law that blocked taxpayer dollars from funding religious school tuition. The court sided with families who wanted to send their kids to Christian schools. The justices ruled 6-3 in favor of striking down that law.
In this case, it's about our public schools, and it's about whether or not we're going to require, not even permit, the government to divert funds from public schools and give them to private religious schools. And in this case, private religious schools that discriminate against the Muslim faith, that discriminate against LGBTQ folks. So it's a really terrible case when it comes to this foundational principle for our country, because it requires taxpayers to fund religious education for the first time.
The current Supreme Court term is expected to end in late June or early July. Well, a groundbreaking educational and civil rights law that has had a major impact on girls and women in sports marks a milestone anniversary today. It was exactly 50 years ago when President Richard Nixon signed into law Title IX. The law prohibits discrimination based on sex in educational programs and activities that receive federal funding. Sports analyst Monica McNutt, who also played women's basketball for Georgetown University, says she's grateful for the opportunities the law has provided.
I legitimately wonder if I would be who I am today without Title IX, because sports is such an intricate part of who I am in terms of the character that it taught me, the experience that I had as a basketball player. And without Title IX, would I have had those opportunities, candidly? And so I'm encouraged by the progress that we've made. I'm not disillusioned about the progress that still has to be made.
The state's attorneys for Baltimore and Prince George has announced that both jurisdictions will be safe spaces for abortion access. This comes ahead of the much anticipated Supreme Court ruling on a Mississippi case that could overturn Roe v. Wade, the 1973 landmark decision legalizing abortion.
In Prince George's County, like here in Baltimore City, you are fortunate enough to have prosecutors who stand for women and stand for women's right to choose. We will create safe spaces for individuals seeking to access reproductive health care freely and safely. My office will not prosecute individuals seeking to exercise their rights. However, we will prosecute individuals threatening to intimidate those who are seeking to exercise their basic rights as human beings, to make choices about their bodies and their health.
Mosby and Brave Boy were joined by Karen Nelson, the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Maryland. Police are investigating a fatal pedestrian accident in Chilham. It happened at around 9 o'clock last night at East-West Highway and Riggs Road. The victim, ID'd as 57-year-old Maria Quinteros of Hyattsville, was struck by an SUV. Any more information about the incident is asked to contact authorities. And here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our area. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed just under 1,600 cases. The county's positivity rate continues to rise. It now stands at 12.22%. 4 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours, and 438 people remain hospitalized. That number is unchanged from yesterday. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Coming up, Vehicles for Change comes to Prince George's County. Stay with us.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back. Hail a taxi in Prince George's and it'll cost you an extra buck. County-wide taxi surcharges have been put into effect. This comes as a result of dramatic increases in gas prices. The fuel cost surcharge won't affect seniors or persons with disabilities. The $1 surcharge will expire on October 2nd. And the organization that provides transportation to people in need as well as helping returning citizens finds work opened up a new branch in Prince George's. Vehicles for Change, in partnership with Employ Prince George's, held a ribbon cutting at its new Hyattsville location today. The organization helps train formerly incarcerated persons to become auto mechanics. They in turn fix up donated vehicles, which are later given to people in need. Vehicles for Change today selected Hamadullah Takari to receive a Honda minivan to help get him to work. Takari and his wife and 4 kids were airlifted from Afghanistan last August.
Like every day going to the job using the public transportation or buses, it's not that easy. But with Vehicle for Change car, I can go to my work easier, and I can manage my time, so I shouldn't be waiting on someone to take me to my appointments. It will help a lot.
For me personally, the program helped me see something that I didn't realize I was actually capable of before, because everybody's not given the same opportunities as other people. So it literally gave me a different set of confidence, or a different sense of confidence that I can actually do something outside of what I've been doing most of my life.
Vehicles for Change expects to open another location in Salisbury in 2 months. Well, about 10,000 voters in Prince George's have received the wrong sample ballots for the upcoming July primary. The ballots have the incorrect candidate information for their district. Sample ballots are not used to vote and contain information on voting locations, as well as a list of candidates who will appear on voters' actual mail-in ballots. Election officials said the error arose from a new process the county implemented to print and distribute ballots this year. Corrected ballots are expected to go out next week. More information, call 301-341-7300. And county police are still looking for leads in a Tuesday night shooting in Riverdale that left a teenager wounded. The victim and his mom were leaving a laundromat when the shooting occurred. Police are offering a $2,500 reward for tips in the case. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Solvers at 1-866-411-TIPS. Well, a Prince George's County man finds himself in trouble with the TSA. Officials say a Capitol Heights man was about to board a flight at Reagan National Airport this morning, but TSA detected a loaded .45 caliber handgun during X-ray screenings. Police recall the weapon was confiscated and the unidentified man was cited on a weapons charge. There have been 11 gun seizures at Reagan National so far this year. Well, a former Prince George's County Police lieutenant has pleaded guilty to tax evasion charges for failing to report more than $1 million from a security business. 48-year-old Edward Finn of Dunkirk admitted to the charges, saying he erased and reset his cell phone as agents executed a search warrant. Finn owned and operated Edward Finn, Inc. as a side job. It hired off-duty cops to provide security to apartment complexes and businesses. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Finn admitted to underreporting $1.3 million in income between 2014 and 2019. He faces up to 5 years in prison when sentenced in October. Well, a global drowning prevention initiative comes to Bowie today. The Bowie State University teamed up with Prince George's Fire Department to host the world's largest swim lesson event this year. It took place at the school's aquatic center. The idea is to teach children and adults how to swim and ultimately prevent drowning. Participants took part in a 45-minute beginner swim class.
They'll give them a quick assessment, and they'll try to bring them along and get them accustomed to being in the water if they're not, and then try to teach them some basic swimming skills and also some basic life-saving skills, teaching them things like if they get themselves into trouble in the water, teach them to roll over on their back and try to keep themselves afloat until someone can get to them or someone can throw them something that'll help keep them afloat, like a life jacket or something like that.
For more information on the event, visit the website on your screen. Well, still to come, the county executive talks about her upcoming trip to South Africa. Stay with us.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And that's why when others look away, we lean in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change everything. With your help, more moments of hope are possible. Join our fight. Save lives.
Welcome back. Juul e-cigarettes are being pulled off the market. The FDA today announced that it's banning the sale of the company's e-cigarette product. Officials say Juul gave the agency insufficient or conflicting data about the health risks of its product. Well, the federal government held its first public hearing on a new offshore wind plan. During the hours-long virtual session, only one person testified against the plan to build up to 121 turbines off the coast of Ocean City. That despite the fact that the plan has generated controversy in the Eastern Shore town, the turbines will generate enough electricity to power 285,000 homes by 2026. The full environmental review is expected to take 2 years to complete. Well, the Smithsonian Board of Regents narrows down the number of sites for its next 2 museums from 24 to 4. The new facilities will be the National Museum of the American Latino and the American Women's History Museum. The 4 sites include the Arts and Industries Building in Southwest D.C., a Capitol site northwest of the Reflecting Pool, a South Monument location, and undeveloped land on the Tidal Basin. Development of the 2 museums was backed by Congress in December of 2020. Well, as we reported earlier this week, County Executive Angela Alsop-Brooks is planning a trip to South Africa this fall. The trip is being touted as a sister city and business mission to South Africa. Along with the local Economic Development Corporation, she'll explore opportunities through the Embassy of South Africa and various state and local agencies. The trip will take place in November. She recently spoke about the trip with CTV News.
We are planning a trip to South Africa. We have a sister city relationship with South Africa, the Bafokeng Nation, and this actually is a trip where we take resources to the Bafokeng Nation, educational resources. We also take business owners there who have an opportunity, along with the Prince George's County government, to collaborate and to do business with South Africa. One of the things that came out of one of the trips that has happened over the years is when FedEx Field was being constructed, for example, many years ago, the South African government was so impressed with the structure here that we shared architectural plans with South Africa, and they built a similar structure in South Africa.
An information session on the trip will be held on July 8th. Well, death strikes the Baltimore Ravens again. Former lineman Tony Saragusa died yesterday at the age of 55. He was a standout player for several years before leaving for a television career. He appeared in the HBO series The Sopranos and other popular programs. On Tuesday night, the Ravens lost linebacker Jalen Ferguson. The 26-year-old's cause of death has not yet been released. Well, now some lighter sports news. The Bowie Bay Sox are back in action tonight. The team starts a 4-game series on the road against the Erie Seawolves. The Bay Sox, the AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, have had a rocky start to the season with a record of 25-40. While the record isn't up to par so far, there are some positives. Outfielder Zach Watson says he's proud to see his former teammate, Bay Sox Adley Rutschman, now playing for the Orioles.
I mean, he's a great guy. He's always in the cage working. He's always getting his job done, doing everything that he's got to do. I actually got to play USA ball with him when we were in college together. So, he's always been a great baseball player. He always goes out there and gives it all he has. So, it's baseball. It happens. Some of the greatest teams will fall under the board for some time, but you just got to rise to the occasion. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep giving it your all and keep going out there. It's the game you've been playing your whole life, so it doesn't change. Just go out there and keep doing your best, and things will start turning around eventually.
The 2019 #1 draft pick Rutschman has been at Camden Yards for a month now. Meantime, the Bowie Bay Sox come back home briefly for a 3rd game series starting on the 28th. And now a check on your weather forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with lows around 60. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the low 80s. Saturday, sunny skies, highs near 87. And Sunday, mostly sunny, highs again in the 80s. And that's our news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.